At Christmas dinner, my parents were already performing. Serena glided around the long dining table, adjusting crystal glasses that did not need adjusting, while Marco posed near the fireplace as if waiting for someone to paint his portrait. I sat at the far end, quiet, trying not to breathe too loudly. Then the front door opened, letting in a rush of cold Connecticut air and my grandfather's steady footsteps. This story is an original creation by the writing team of the Revenge Amber channel, inspired by the hidden corners of family life, and told with the purpose of fostering emotional connection and spreading understanding. Nono Leonardo stepped inside, wearing a simple wool coat, the same one he had worn for years. The room dimmed around him, not because the lights changed, but because everything about him was real, and everything in that house was not. Serena flashed him a bright smile that never reached her eyes. "Papa, you're late. We were waiting to start dessert." "I walk at the pace my bones choose," he replied. His voice was calm, but something in it felt heavier than usual. Marco clapped him on the back. "Come on, old man. Sit. We have tiramisu from Firenze's, imported ladyfingers. You will love it." Nono did not answer. He pulled out his chair at the head of the table, sat, and rested for a moment, studying each of us like we were strangers in his home. Then he reached into his coat and placed 3 plain white envelopes in front of him. He slid one to Marco, one to Serena, and one down the table toward me. "A small gift," he said softly. Marco burst into laughter. "Ah, here we go. Another one of your sentimental surprises." He tapped his envelope like it was a toy. "Should we pretend to cry this time?" Serena joined in, her laugh too high, too sharp. "Papa, you know we adore your little traditions, but you do not have to keep doing this. It is cute." They did not even look inside. They did not even hold the envelopes with respect. They just performed their amusement for each other like an audience of 2. Nono did not look at them. He looked at me. I picked up my envelope carefully. My voice came out smaller than I wanted. "Thank you, Nono." He nodded once, barely visible, and whispered, "Tieni questo al sicuro. Gianna, keep it safe." A tightness crept into my chest. I pressed the envelope between my palms like it might disappear. Serena waved a hand in the air. "Gianna, darling, do not encourage him. He loves this silly game." Marco leaned back with a smug smile. "She always humors him. She was born sensitive." Nono's gaze sharpened. "Sensitivity is not a flaw. Marco." The air chilled. Only the candles flickered. Serena quickly changed the subject. "Anyway, Papa, we are planning a New Year's Eve gala. Very elegant. We invited the Ricci's, the Donovans enough," Nono said gently. "Eat." The rest of dinner passed in stiff fragments. Their voices filled the room, but their words were empty. I kept glancing at the envelope, feeling its weight, feeling his eyes on me. When it was time to leave, Serena kissed Nono on the cheek, already distracted. Marco pocketed his envelope like a receipt he meant to toss later. I hugged Nono, his arms wrapped around me tighter than usual. "Drive safe, Gianna," he murmured. "And remember what I said." Outside. The icy air burned my lungs. I walked to my car with the envelope tucked under my coat, my heartbeat loud in the silence. If you're reading this and want more stories like this, stories about family, truth, and the hidden battles we never speak about, make sure you follow along, because this one is only just beginning. I got in the car, gripping the wheel with one hand and the envelope with the other, knowing something had shifted in a way I could not yet name. The night around me felt colder, sharper, as if the test had already begun. The moment I stepped into my apartment, the silence wrapped around me like a blanket I had not realized I needed. No crystal clinking, no staged laughter, no Serena correcting the way I breathed. Just the steady hum of the radiator and the faint scent of pine from the tiny tree I had decorated alone. I set Nono's envelope on the coffee table and stood over it for a long moment. My fingers hovered above it, trembling, A text from Serena appeared on my phone. Remember to post a picture from tonight. Your lighting was off again. I turned the phone face down. The envelope waited. I finally whispered to no one. Okay, just do it. I slid my thumb under the flap. Inside was a cashier's check, crisp and heavy. My breath snagged as my eyes traced the words. Pay to the order of Gianna Moretti, amount $180,000. My knees nearly gave out. I sat hard on the couch, gripping the paper like it might vanish. A soft voice echoed in my memory Nono in his workshop years ago, guiding my hands across a plank of oak. The truth is in the grain. Gianna, you feel it before you see it. I felt something now. Fear, disbelief, something sharper. The door creaked, and my neighbor Mrs. Laveau poked her head in. I heard you come in. Everything all right, sweetheart. I tried to hide the envelope. Too slow. Her eyes widened. Is that? It is real. I whispered. I think it is real. She pressed her lips together. Your grandfather always struck me as a man who did not play games. I swallowed hard. My parents think he does. She gave a sad smile. Your parents think a lot of things that are not true. When she left, the apartment felt smaller. The check lay in my palm like a confession. I stared at it for minutes. Then I reached for my phone again. My banking app opened. My thumb hovered over the mobile deposit button. My heart pounded so loudly I could hear it echo through my chest. Just to see, I murmured. Just to know. I took the photo of the front. My hand shook. I retook it. Then the back. The app processed it. Deposit pending. Funds on hold for 1 business day. I exhaled shakily and set the phone down. The check remained warm from my hands. I folded it once and placed it inside the cedar box Nono and I had built together. The lid closed with a quiet click. My phone buzzed again. A message from Marco this time. We expect you here tomorrow morning. Do not make this difficult. I stared at the words until they blurred. Then I turned off the phone entirely. In the dim light of my apartment, I whispered the only truth I could hold on to. Whatever this is, Nono meant it, and for the first time in my life, the meaning mattered more than the money. The next morning, pale winter light crept through my curtains, pulling me out of a restless sleep. My first instinct was to reach for my phone. Notifications glowed across the screen: emails, texts, missed calls, but my eyes went straight to the banking app. The hold was gone. The words stared back at me, clean and undeniable. Deposit completed, $180,000 available. My breath hitched. The confirmation didn't feel like relief. It felt like a trap snapping shut. Before I could process it, my phone lit up again. Incoming call. Mom. I froze. The sound filled the tiny apartment like an alarm. I answered on the third ring, barely breathing. Mom Serena's voice was sharp, frantic, nothing like her polished party tone. Gianna, where have you been? I have been calling you all morning. I was asleep. Well, we were waking up from a nightmare. She snapped. Your father and I found our envelopes. They were behind the bar cart. We thought they were jokes, so we called the bank to humor your grandfather. Her breath hitched. The manager said both checks were real. Real, Gianna. But he also said they were stopped. Stopped this morning. I stayed silent. He humiliated us. She choked out, in front of a stranger. Do you have any idea what that feels like? I finally spoke. Mom. Did you talk to him? She cut in. Did you know they were real? No. Do not lie to me, she hissed. The bank said 1 check went through. 1. A large one. This morning. Her voice sharpened into something brittle and ugly. How much did he give you? I'm not telling you. Gianna, she whispered, outraged. That money is not yours. It was a gift. A gift. Her laugh cracked. Your grandfather is confused. You have taken advantage of him. I did nothing. That money belongs to the family. Bring it here. No. For a moment, the line went dead quiet. Then Marco's voice filled the phone, hard and heavy. Give me the phone. Serena. A shuffle. Then Gianna. I shut my eyes. Dad. You went behind our backs, he said. His voice was lower than usual, stripped of charm. You cashed it first thing in the morning like a little thief. I wasn't stealing. He is old. He is not thinking clearly. You should have told us. You have put us in a terrible position. You're the ones who laughed at him, I whispered. You didn't even open the envelopes. The silence that followed felt like ice spreading through my apartment. Then Marco spoke, each word sharp enough to cut. You have always been ungrateful, a disappointment, a mistake. My throat closed. You will come here, he continued. You will bring the money, and we will decide what to do with it. No, I said, barely audible. I'm not coming. You listen to me. I hung up. My hand shook violently. The phone clattered to the floor. The room felt too small, too loud, too fragile. I pressed my palms to my eyes and tried to breathe. The deposit was real. Their rage was real. And somewhere beneath all of it, Nono's intention was the only thing that felt steady. After the call, I sat on the floor for a long time, holding my knees, waiting for the shaking to stop. The apartment felt too quiet, too thin to contain everything crashing inside me. I opened the cedar box again, the one Nono and I built together when I was 13. The lid creaked softly, and the smell of wood rose up like a memory. I traced the edge of the box. My hands remembered that summer in his workshop, how he guided my grip on the saw, how carefully he watched me measure each line. Back then, I had told him, it looks crooked. He placed his weathered hand over mine. The grain never lies. Gianna, when something is crooked, you feel it first. I could still hear his laugh when I dropped a chisel. Do not worry. Mistakes teach you where to place your hands next time. Now, my hands curled around the check, the ink still crisp. The weight of it made more sense than my father's voice or Serena's bitterness. They laughed at you, I whispered into the box, my voice breaking. They laughed at your gift. The thought made something inside me twist painfully. A soft knock on my door startled me. It was my neighbor again, Mrs. Laveau. She peeked inside, concerned. You left your phone buzzing nonstop, she said. It sounded like it might jump off the counter. I exhaled shakily. It was my parents. Her gaze softened. Ah, then I understand the tremble in your voice. I think Nono knew they'd react like this. I forced the words out. He knew exactly how they'd treat something they didn't understand. She nodded slowly. That man raised 3 generations with his hands. People like that see through hearts the way they see through wood. I closed the box. The click quiet, but final. He gave you more than a check, she said gently. He gave you the truth. I did not answer, but the truth settled inside me, heavy, sharp, honest, just like the grain Nono taught me to follow. By the next afternoon, my phone had been silent for hours, not because the calls stopped, but because I had turned it off and set it face down under a pillow like a sleeping animal I did not want to disturb. I needed one person, someone whose voice didn't make me flinch. Tessa met me at our usual diner booth, already tapping her pen against a stack of case notes. When she saw my face, she pushed everything aside. Okay, she said. Tell me. The words spilled out my parents' discovery, their outrage, the stopped checks. Marco's voice dripping disappointment like poison. Tessa's jaw tightened. They called you a mistake. I nodded, her fist clenched. Gianna, that is emotional warfare. They are furious because they were exposed. He gave me $180,000. I whispered, and I don't think it was about the money. Of course it wasn't. She leaned forward. Leonardo was testing them, and only one person passed. I did not pass anything, I said, rubbing my eyes. I just said thank you. And that, Tessa said, is exactly why he chose you. The waitress set down tea for me, coffee for her. She glanced at us knowingly before moving on. Tessa lowered her voice. You need to be careful. They are not done. People like your parents do not accept humiliation quietly. My stomach dipped. What do I do now? You wait, she said, and when your grandfather reaches out again and he will you go. When I returned home, a thick cream envelope sat on my doorstep, my name across the front in Nono's unmistakable handwriting. Inside was a single card dinner. Saturday, 7 o'clock, his Branford address printed beneath. I stared at the words until the ink seemed to shift. Tessa's warning echoed in my mind. They are not done, but neither was Nono, and this time, whatever he planned was no test. It was the reckoning. Saturday came too quickly. I drove toward Branford with both hands tight on the wheel, every mile tightening something inside my chest. Nono's neighborhood appeared through the windshield old stone houses, tall oaks, homes built by men who believed in foundations, not facades. His driveway was lined with cars. One of them was my parents' silver SUV. My stomach lurched. Inside, the house smelled faintly of lemon oil and wood shavings, exactly like when I was a child. Mrs. Bianchi, his longtime housekeeper, opened the door before I could knock twice. Gianna, she said softly, touching my arm. He is waiting for you in the study. Are my parents here? My voice felt thin. Her eyes lowered. They are in the dining room. A pulse of cold ran through me. How long have they been here long enough? She murmured. Come. The hallway felt narrower than I remembered. When we reached the study, she knocked once and opened the door. Nono sat behind his heavy oak desk, the one he carved himself decades ago. He wore a dark suit instead of his usual wool sweater. His posture was straight, composed, too still. He looked up at me like he had been waiting for this exact moment. Gianna, he said. Sit. I sat across from him, hands clasped. He studied me for a long second. You look frightened. I am. You should not be. His voice softened, but something unwavering lay beneath it. You have done nothing wrong. Everything wrong in this family was done long before you were born. I swallowed. They think I stole from you. They think many things, he replied, most of them untrue. A beat of silence held the room. No, I whispered. What is tonight? Why are they here? He rose slowly, placing a hand on my shoulder as he passed. This is not your burden. I invited them because I needed them to hear the truth from me. I stood too quickly. What truth? That the test is over. His words chilled me. You will walk with me, he said, opening the study door. You will stay silent. You will stay yourself. That is all I ask. I followed him down the hallway toward the dining room. With every step, I felt the walls tighten, the floor steadying beneath us, the air charged like the moment before a storm breaks. As we reached the doorway, I saw my parents standing stiffly by the fireplace, turning toward us, and Nono whispered, just loud enough for me to hear tonight, Gianna. Everything shifts. My parents turned as Nono and I entered the dining room, their expressions stretched tight like badly fitted masks. Serena's eyes were rimmed red, an actress mid-performance. Marco's jaw was clenched so hard the muscle twitched. Gianna. Serena breathed, stepping toward me. Thank God you came. We were worried. Nono's voice cut through her tone like a blade. Sit. They froze. Then, slowly, they obeyed. Nono remained standing at the head of the table. No food, no wine, only a thin leather folder placed neatly in front of him. The silence pressed down on the room. Serena forced a tremulous smile. "Papa, we could have talked privately. You didn't need to call us here like this. Like what he asked." Her smile faltered. Like we are on trial." "You are not on trial," he said calmly. "You have already been judged." Marco scoffed. "By who you over some pointless envelopes you made us look foolish." Nono looked at him with disappointment deeper than anger. "I did not make you look foolish. You revealed yourselves." Marco slammed his palm onto the table. "It was a joke. Leonardo, we assumed the envelopes were another one of your sentimental games." "You should have clarified. I do not clarify respect." Nono replied. "One either gives it freely or not at all." Serena's voice cracked. "We have always given you respect." He turned to her slowly. "You have given me obligation and performance, but never gratitude." She blinked, stunned. "That is not fair. It is the truth," he said. Marco leaned forward, eyes narrowing. "All this drama because we didn't open some silly envelopes at dessert." "No," Nono said. "All this because you laughed at a gift, laughed at me." Serena's breath hitched. "Papa, and because," he continued, his voice unwavering, "you called Gianna a thief." Their gazes shot to me, sharp and blaming. Marco growled. "She cashed her check. She ran to the bank like a desperate child." "What does that tell you?" Nono's eyes hardened. "It tells me she trusted me. It tells me she did not mock what I gave her." I swallowed, feeling their heat turn on me. Marco spat. "She has done nothing to deserve anything from you. Nothing. She is a decorator, Papa, a hobbyist." My mouth went dry. But Nono spoke before I could. "She is more of a builder than you will ever be." The room went hollow. Marco stood abruptly. "Enough of this. You are confused. She has manipulated you." "I am not confused," Nono said, steady as stone. "Then she is using you for your money," Marco shouted. At that, Nono reached for the leather folder and opened it with deliberate calm. Papers slid forward, crisp and organized. He pushed the folder toward me. "That is why she was not the one I documented," he said. "You were—" Serena stared, panic blooming across her face. "Papa, what documents?" "Everything that needed to be changed," he answered. "My will, the trust, the succession plan, the transfer of voting shares." My breath caught as I saw my name across page after page: executor, trustee, primary beneficiary, majority shareholder. Nono continued. 72% of Moretti Construction now belongs to Gianna. Serena clutched her chest. "No," she whispered. "You cannot do that. I already have," he said. Marco's voice cracked into fury. "You are out of your mind. I am your son." "You are a title," Nono replied, "but you have never done the work behind it." Marco trembled with anger. "This is illegal. I will challenge it. You are not well. You are being coerced." Nono let the silence settle before answering. "For the past 6 months, I have undergone regular evaluations by Dr. Rinaldi and recorded my directives in writing and on video." His voice did not move. "Everything is airtight." Serena burst into tears, not sorrow, but rage. "How could you choose her over us?" He shifted his gaze to me, then back to them. "Because she listened," he said, "because she learned, because she said thank you, because she did not laugh." Marco stood frozen, shock draining the color from his face. Then Nono delivered the final blow, quiet, devastating, irreversible. "Now I know who is real." Serena choked on a sob. Marco's breathing turned ragged. They both looked at me as if the truth itself had betrayed them. Without a word, Serena grabbed her purse and stumbled toward the door. Marco hesitated only long enough to glare at me with something colder than anger, hatred. Then he followed her. The front door slammed so hard the walls trembled. And then, for the first time all night, the house felt still. Nono exhaled slowly, as though releasing 30 years of disappointment. "Come," he said gently. "Dinner is warm." Nono led me out of the dining room and into the kitchen, where a single pot simmered on the stove. The scent of tomatoes and basil filled the air warm. Honest, nothing like the dinners my parents staged for photographs. "Sit," he said, pulling out a chair at the small table by the window. I sat, still trembling from the confrontation. My voice came out thin. "Nono, they hate me now. They hated who you refused to become," he replied, ladling gnocchi into 2 bowls. "There is a difference." He placed a bowl in front of me, then sat across from me. His hands shook slightly as he lifted his fork. I whispered, "You did not have to choose me. I did not choose you," he said firmly. "You chose yourself the moment you treated that envelope like it mattered." I stared at my gnocchi, emotions crowding my throat. "They will never forgive me." He shook his head. "Forgiveness requires humility. They do not have that." I lowered my gaze. "I still feel guilty." "Of course you do," he said. "Because you feel. Do not lose that." "Gianna," he studied me. "Power without tenderness becomes cruelty. Tenderness without power becomes suffering. You must carry both." A small sound escaped me, half laugh, half sob. "I do not know if I can." "You already are," he said. He reached into his coat and pulled out a small wooden box, smooth and worn from years of handling. He pushed it toward me. "For you." I opened it slowly. Inside was his old carpenter's pencil, the one he used every summer when we built projects together. Next to it lay a miniature heart carved from cedar. My breath caught. "Nono." He touched my hand, warm and steady. "The company, the house, the money, those are tools. This," he said, closing my fingers around the wooden heart, "is the legacy." The room fell quiet as his words settled between us, heavy and gentle at once. I walked Nono to the foyer, the wooden heart still clutched in my palm. The house felt different now, lighter, as if something poisonous had finally been aired out. Nono reached for his coat, and I helped him settle it over his shoulders. "Gianna," he said softly, "there is one more thing." I froze. His voice carried a weight I had learned to fear. He looked me squarely in the eyes. "Your parents will come back. Not for love, not for regret, for access." My stomach tightened. What do I do when they do? "You let them speak," he said, "and you answer with your life, not your anger." I swallowed hard. "I am not ready for that." "You are," he insisted. "But if you are unsure, you call me, even if it is midnight." I managed a small laugh. "You do not sleep much anyway." He smiled, tired but proud. "True. Old men carry fewer dreams, but heavier memories." I stepped forward and hugged him. His arms came around me with surprising strength. "Nono, thank you," I whispered, for what he asked, for choosing honesty, for choosing me. He held me tighter. I chose the only person who remembered what a gift is. When we pulled apart, he brushed a tear from my cheek. "You build now, Gianna, bigger than tables, bigger than houses. Build a life that makes you grateful." I nodded, unable to speak. He opened the door, stepped into the cold night air, and turned back once. "Remember," he said, "respect only passes through a family once." Then he walked to his car, leaving me standing in the doorway with the truth burning warm in my hands. 3 days later, I was in my small studio, sketching nursery layouts for a young couple who could barely afford paint. When my phone buzzed, I expected Zoe's usual check-in. Instead, The screen showed a name I never thought I would see again. Mama. My chest tightened. I let it ring until the buzzing stopped, but it started again instantly. This time, I answered. Her voice trembled. Gianna, your grandfather collapsed this morning. My heart dropped. What? Where is he? At St. Helena Hospital, she said. Your father is already there. Then her tone shifted soft, strategic, familiar. He asked for you. I didn't trust her tone, but I trusted Nono's name on her lips. I'm coming, I said, grabbing my keys. Gianna, she started. I hung up. The drive felt like shards of glass under my skin. When I reached the hospital, I saw my parents standing near the entrance. My father lifted his chin, waiting for me to come to them. I walked right past. Mama grabbed my arm. We should discuss the estate before I pulled free. Not one more word about money. She blinked, stunned, as I stepped into the elevator. Inside the quiet hallway, I paused, breathing hard. I thought of everyone listening to this story, how each twist felt impossible yet painfully true. If you've stayed with me this far, I whispered under my breath. Thank you. It steadied me. Stories matter because families like mine exist. I pushed open Nono's door. He lay awake, eyes tired but warm. Gianna, he murmured. Come here, child. I stepped to his bedside, taking his hand. His grip, though weak, told me everything. The story wasn't ending. It was beginning.